Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 179 based on novel. So let's start. Greetings Undying. Sector Lord Mo Luoku bowed respectfully. The huge warrior with the big axe on his back responded slightly before looking at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, the leader wants to meet you, follow me. After which, a formless energy that couldn't be seen by the naked eye formed a large hand and carried Luo Feng. The huge warrior brought Luo Feng and swiftly headed towards the 9th level of the palace. This is the strength of an Undying? Luo Feng felt the ripples of origin laws around him. Flying through level after level. Every level of Tianxia Palace was incredibly vast and huge. Very quickly, this Undying brought Luo Feng to the 9th level. This 9th level hall should be the biggest hall of all of the palace, just like how the first level had a specific ship docking area, places to welcome people, with sector lords resting areas, and a special area to monitor Blood River World, and a place for the sector lords to train. In all, from the 1st to 8th level, every level was incredibly vast, but each had been organized extremely well. The 9th level, however, was a vast hall of endlessness. The entire 9th level hadn't been segregated at all. The length and width reached tens of thousands of kilometers, and its height too was 10,000 kilometers. It was so large that even Earth was able to fit into this hall. Tianxia Palace leader? As he landed in the 9th hall, Luo Feng's gaze landed on the distant silhouette ahead. He was dressed in a silver long robe. It seemed as though his robe itself produced countless images. On it were gold engravings, however with a blink of an eye, the robe was ultimately just a silver robe. Illusionary and mysterious, it was intoxicating. His reddish-brown long hair was let loose. Standing there, gazing at the vast space outside Tianxia Palace. At this point Luo Feng even felt that he was even more vast than the space outside, even more majestic. Leader! The huge warrior bowed respectfully. Go on. A clear voice, like a wind blowing through a bamboo forest. Yes. The warrior became a beam of light and immediately left the 9th level. The light behind the stairs turned dark, as the pathway behind seemed to close. He finally turned around. He had reddish-brown long hair, sparkling skin, black eyes, and an engraving on his forehead. Other than the engraving, his resemblance to an Earth human was uncanny. Even though he was taller than normal, however before him even the giants would feel as though they were facing an endless space, and would be subdued and feel inferior. Luo Feng, the voice seemed to resound within his ears and heart. Only then did Luo Feng awaken. Even with my willpower, I was still unknowingly affected by him. It's too terrifying. Compared to the true governing powers of the universe, even with my strong willpower, there's still such a difference. If Luo Feng's thoughts were known by the warriors of the universe, they'd all break out laughing. Standing before a pinnacle ancient being, who, through his countless years of training, the universe energies shaping, his willpower alone was at an unbelievable level. A universe-level little doll that had only lived for a few hundred years, and compared to the Tianxia Palace's leader? He alone was more than capable of keeping the intimidation on the beings of Blood River World. Luo Feng greets the leader. Luo Feng bowed respectfully. Your willpower is not bad. The leader nodded. It was almost like the entire land and skies were speaking. Your batch of geniuses are the most exceptional in the past 10,000 eras, because in your batch, there's Bolan, Yuan Rong Jun. Luo Feng was stunned by his words. Past 10,000 eras was essentially over 100 million years. Before you entered Blood River World, the Virtual Universe Company's management level had a contest over you and Bolan. The leader looked at Luo Feng. The contest was about your sturdiness in character, and to see if you are fit for walking this path of the strong. Your high talents. And Bolan's pride, yet his unbelievable talent. However, your willpower far exceeds his. Back then some favored you, while others favored Bolan. And I favored you. The leader looked at Luo Feng, his eyes smiling. Thank you, leader. Luo Feng bowed. Your time here in Blood River World, according to your teacher, he said that you have comprehended the 35 wonders of the space laws? The leader looked at Luo Feng. Did that happen? Yes. Luo Feng replied frankly. Back when your teacher said that, immediately the numbers that favored you grew. The leader said, I too thought that you and Rongjun would have more hopes of becoming true absolute warriors in the universe humans. Rongjun and I? Luo Feng was stunned. Just complimenting him alone was enough. Rongjun? From the leader's words, everybody was contesting between him and Bolan, but no one mentioned Rong Jun at all. However, right now, be it the Heavenly Bridge or Fantasy Ocean, he and Bolan were far ahead. Rong Jun? Luo Feng was curious. If Bolan were to understand, he too would be your competitor. The leader looked at Luo Feng. As for Rong Jun, if you are able to exceed Rong Jun in this life, it would be an accomplishment. What? Luo Feng stared wide-eyed. This life? If he could exceed Rong Jun in this life, it would an accomplishment. And this was said by the leader of the Tianxia Palace. Would he not be able to exceed him? Ever since he acquired the Beast God statue, Luo Feng didn't even place Bolan or Rong Jun as his opponents. He thought he was set to exceed them by far. His true opponents were the absolute beings from before. However, the leader, someone of such status, wouldn't speak rubbish. Rong Jun had indeed attracted 2 universe country leaders to accept him as their disciple. That weird matter made Luo Feng curious. So the upper echelons favor Rong Jun more than me and Bolan? Luo Feng thought. They better look well. I have the Beast God statue to study the first claw, the Mosha clan to study the 9 universe tablet, and the earth body to meld the 2. I'm already ahead of Rong Jun. My return this time, I should be able to exceed Bolan too. And after this time, I will continuously improve, leaving them far behind. Luo Feng's state of mind was incredibly sturdy. Even though he valued the leader's words, but to get shaken by it he wanted to be strong. Continuously growing. His improvement speed will only get faster. As for Rong Jun, Bolan? It'll just depend on whether they could keep up. Your mental state sure is solid. The leader saw through Luo Feng's eyes and guessed his thoughts. Smiling, the universe is vast and profound. Everyone has their own miraculous meetings and advantages. The 3 of you are not bad. However, at such a young age, your willpower has already reached such levels. It's really not easy. My good friend favors Rong Jun. As long as he doesn't fall, he will definitely have accomplishments in the future. However, I'm betting on you. Betting? Luo Feng was stunned. This leader seemed to know some secret about Rong Jun, yet he was still betting on himself? Don't let me lose. The leader's eyes were smiling. You actually comprehended the 35 wonders. Following which he pointed in mid-air. Formless energy gathered and a stone tablet formed. On it was a picture, the drizzle picture. There were a total of 36 raindrops in it. This 36 wonders, which one haven't you comprehended yet? The leader said. This one. Luo Feng pointed and his spirit energy landed on a particular drop. Since we could meet, I'll help you out. The leader waved his hand and immediately black fireballs with diameters of 100 kilometers immediately floated in the air in the hall. Every one of them were extremely huge and completely black. The surfaces were burning with black flames, and there was a total of 9 of them. The space around the black fireballs seemed to burn and split apart, and the broken space flowed erratically, locked in by the black fireballs. The space further away seemed to warp. Almost as though there was some very strong gravity causing the space to get drawn in. Only the space around Luo Feng and the leader was very solid. What's this? Those Undyings are able to play with even planets. Just what are these 9 black planets? Luo Feng looked up shocked. Even though it was controlled in this palace, he still felt the temperature rise up to 1000 degrees. However, this wasn't anything to a universe level 9. However, just the burning temperatures caused the space to split apart, even making the space flow weirdly locked in position. This was definitely thousands to tens of thousands of times more terrifying than a star. I'll completely demonstrate the 36th wonder which you've yet to comprehend. But just once, whether you can comprehend it will depend on yourself. The leader looked at the 9 black fireballs floating. Immediately they began to move, with one movement. The land and skies vanished. Luo Feng couldn't help but get completely immersed within. The movement of the 9 fireballs completely infused with the universe space laws. The space was completely controlled. At this time, it was even deeper than studying the 9 universe tablet itself. The main reason was that the tablet was but something an absolute warrior of the universe had left behind, and right now, the leader of the Tianxia Palace was personally demonstrating the 36th wonder. After finishing the demonstration, the 9 black fireballs continued to move about, all the more mysterious. Luo Feng was completely immersed within. Many thoughts and comprehensions occurred in his mind. However, the more he saw, the more he didn't know. He even lost track of time. Rumble. The 9 black fireballs were already invisible to the naked eye. Only the countless flame marks were left, finally forming a peculiar beast picture. This beast picture was the beast in the 9 universe tablet's 7th to 9th pictures, the ones Luo Feng didn't understand. After which, the 9 black fireballs completely vanished and the vast hall returned to normal. The leader looked at Luo Feng, who was immersed in his study, and waved his hand. Luo Feng vanished and appeared in the first level. Within a particular F-grade universe ship's control room, he was still sitting cross-legged and within his study, not even realizing he was already in a ship. Send him off, don't disrupt his study. The leader communicated. Yes, leader. The leader of the Qiansha Palace gazed down, almost as though he could see through the many levels. Looking at Luo Feng immersed in his study in the universe ship, laughing lightly, Luo Feng, how much you can comprehend depends on yourself. After which he sat cross-legged, laughing softly, such a young age with such powerful willpower. Interesting, even when I was Domain Lord back then, my willpower wasn't that strong. Everything returned to silence. Qiansha Palace 9th level was as calm as it had been for the past trillion years. And the F-grade ship brought Luo Feng, who was immersed in his study, and left Qiansha Palace. Luo Feng's nest, star fragment 803898081. It had a diameter of 6,200 kilometers. This star fragment was floating in space, and on it was a huge villa that took up most of the space, with universe-level soldiers patrolling about. Suddenly, they spotted a universe ship slowly descending. They became shocked, and immediately informed their leader Ao Duo. General, there's a ship has come. A silhouette appeared within the villa. It was the bald old man Ao Duo. He looked up at the universe ship. From one look, his expression changed, the mark of Qiansha Palace. It's actually a F-grade universe ship, follow me. Ao Duo brought the 10 guards with him in beams of lights, swiftly flying over. In the distance, that ship descended, landing on the wild grass and flowers. The ship is from Qiansha Palace. It should be His Majesty returning, but why haven't they opened the cabin door after so long? Ao Duo brought the guards and stood beside the ship waiting at attention. The ship stopped for quite a while before the cabin door opened and landed on the ground. A huge warrior with a huge axe on his back came out, coldly gazing at Ao Duo and the group. The formless pressure fiercely landed on Ao Duo and the group's souls. Greetings, Undying. Ao Duo bowed in shock. Greetings, Undying. The group of guards too were shocked. Luo Feng is studying now, we cannot disrupt him in this critical time. The warrior said coldly. Our Qiansha Palace ship will be stationed here until he awakens, you all cannot disturb him either. Yes. Ao Duo and the group bowed, simultaneously feeling shocked. My God. This pressure that he released before them had ripples of origin laws all around. Obviously this was a powerful Undying. And Luo Feng was actually able to have an Undying wait here without disturbing him. This was too absurd. Luo Feng was after all an absolute beginning member. His position should still be slightly lower than that of an Undying in Qiansha Palace. The cabin door closed and Ao Duo and the group could only wait outside. 1 hour, 2 hours. 1 day, 2 days, why hasn't His Majesty awoken yet? Right, we've been waiting here for quite some time. General, if His Majesty continues his study, should we still wait here stupidly? From what I see, we should return first. Shut up. Ao Duo ordered softly. His gaze swept at the guards that had been standing there for 18 days waiting and said coldly, you are all at universe levels and domain lords. How is this long? Even I'm not complaining, even the Undying from Qiansha Palace is waiting, not daring to disrupt his training. And you dare complain? The muttering guards all immediately went silent, be silent and wait. If His Majesty awakens and we are not there to welcome him, that would be our failure. Ao Duo ordered. Yes, General. The group of guards obediently complied. Within the ship's control room, Luo Feng sat cross-legged on the metal ground not moving. In his mind many scenes floated in and out, the 9 black fireballs shown to him before by the powerful Qiansha Palace leader replayed over and over in his mind. Many techniques from the second volume of Time-Space Scribbles 2 came into play, many areas that were obscure before were being solved. 9 Universe Tablet, Time-Space Scribbles, Floating Blood Manual, 9 Black Fireballs, the Ancient Pictures, the Beast God Statue, they all corresponded with each other. Plus the fact that he had already comprehended the previous 35 wonders, and a lot of the 36th, with all these working together, many questions he had initially were being solved. His comprehension began to rise and Luo Feng couldn't help but smile. Unknowingly, Luo Feng had completely comprehended the 36th wonder, because the 9 black fireballs kept replaying in his head, displaying the entire space laws over and over. He couldn't help but continue studying and move on to the 9 universe tablet's third picture, the rainstorm. Many questions began to form in his head, many hard-to-solve questions. Luo Feng combined the 9 black fireballs, the ancient pictures, and compared notes, attacking each difficult question one at a time, using all his focus to solve one question after another. That's it. Luo Feng, who was sitting cross-legged, opened his eyes. Any more and my efficiency will decrease. The best way to study the 9 universe tablet is still the time-space scribbles. I currently only have 2 volumes and not the third. Luo Feng could clearly feel that without the time-space scribbles to tally with, his studying efficiency would have a drastic drop. Time-space scribbles were written by the founder of the 9 universe tablet. It is extremely valuable, and at the same time, it is the optimum way to study the 9 universe tablet. The control room cabin door opened and Luo Feng turned to look out. The huge warrior with the huge axe on his back walked in. He glanced at Luo Feng. Since you've awoken, you can leave now. Thank you, Undying. Luo Feng bowed. This was the leader's command, no need to thank me. The huge warrior didn't say anything more. Luo Feng bowed and swiftly followed the pathway straight out of the cabin door. Greetings, Your Majesty. Ao Duo and the group of guards all bowed as they saw Luo Feng walk out. It had been over 30 days since they waited. Luo Feng jumped down and landed on the grass, simultaneously nodding as he smiled. I've kept you all waiting, let's go. Yes. Ao Duo and the rest respectfully followed. On this star fragment continent, Luo Feng quickly returned to his living quarters. He couldn't wait and immediately entered the Virtual Universe Network. Virtual Universe, Yuxiong Mountain Absolute Beginning Region, Villa 1136. Luo Feng came to his training grounds. The Tianxia Palace leader's help this time has saved me at least 2 to 3 years' worth of work. And the display of the 9 black fireballs has shed some light on my latest study of the rainstorm picture. Luo Feng recalled the scene back in Tianxia Palace. He couldn't help but be speechless at the 9 black fireballs. The universe space was very steady, even with the star's high temperature, it wouldn't affect the space at all. However, the black fireballs burning in the space actually messed up the flow of space itself. Its strong gravity caused the space to warp. Luo Feng guessed that even a powerful Undying, if burned by the black fireballs, would be burned to death. Make light work of something heavy. I shouldn't think so far ahead now, I can't even make 1 star yet. Luo Feng shook his head, after which he cleared his mind and with a thought, the dark golden long rod appeared on his back. I've already completely comprehended the 36 wonders, I don't know whether I can unleash the 6th level though. Nanshan armament had a total of 9 levels. The 5th space slicer, the 6th own world. From the 5th to the 6th, it was one of the 2 hardest breakthroughs of the 9 levels. 80 years. Over 80 years of hard work, Luo Feng's comprehension had risen greatly. Compared to 80 years ago, it was absurd, however he was still unable to unleash the 6th level. Nanshan armament, come out. Luo Feng ordered. Countless gold lights shot out from the dark golden long rod behind him. In an instant, the gold glaring lights of little golden blades shot out. Gold engravings on the little blades formed gold threads and countless lights moved in the surrounding space, triggering the space laws. Gold laws, and the alloy ground of the training grounds completely vanished into the light. A vast world made of blade energy revolved around. This move could change the land and skies. It was the Nanshan armament's 6th level, own world. Luo Feng frowned. His face was flushed red as his consciousness spirit energy madly controlled the blade world's foundation, the 5,832 little golden blades. No, control. Luo Feng couldn't help but roar. Rumble. The formed blade world maintained itself for about 3 to 4 seconds and after which it shook and crumbled with a crash. The blur of 5,832 little golden blades remained floating in the surroundings, however the blade world was broken. It actually crumbled in a few seconds. Luo Feng smiled and shook his head. It's still okay, this was the first time I actually formed the blade world. After so many years, this is the first time I successfully formed a complete blade world. Since I can form it, the next step should come quickly. Breaking through every level was extremely hard. Just like the Nanshan armament's first level, simply forming 1 golden blade. The second piercing sky actually required 9 blades into 1. Why was the difference so huge? Over 80 years, Luo Feng had been constantly improving from the 5th level space slicer. His improvement speed was shocking, his encounters too were legendary. Using these 80 years that way, he finally began to feel the entrance of the 6th level's own world. Of course, it was just the entrance, every level's power was vastly different. Luo Feng's blade world could only be maintained for a few seconds now, it was the most basic stage of forming this 6th level. In theory, the rainstorm picture, when one reached a certain level of comprehension, only then would he be able to unleash blade world. Luo Feng's comprehension of the rainstorm picture was barely even beginning. The 1st of March levels of the Heavenly Bridge reflects the raindrop picture. The 4th to 6th levels reflected the drizzle picture. The 7th to 9th levels reflect the rainstorm picture. Luo Feng frowned. This is a rough gauge, I've comprehended the first 36 wonders. Since my comprehension is 10 times stronger than a normal comprehension of the drizzle picture, that's why I can force out the blade world. However, I can only maintain it for a few seconds. I estimate that I still cannot pass the 7th level of the Heavenly Bridge. I have to get accustomed to it and maintain for longer periods of time. Luo Feng pondered. And even though I've comprehended the first 36 wonders, studying the rainstorm picture would still be extremely difficult. However, with little bits, I think it'll be pretty fast. If one's basics were solid, the comprehension would be faster. Luo Feng's basics were incredibly solid. Studying the rainstorm picture requires the Time-Space Scribbles 3rd volume. I should buy it now. Luo Feng understood the theory of a sharp blade increasing one's efficiency. He immediately rushed out of the training grounds. He flew into his study. Sitting before the desk, he opened his laptop and swiftly opened the treasure trove, preparing to buy the manual. However, he was shocked as he saw his points below. Points, 74,660. Only over 70k points. Buying the 3rd volume of Time-Space Scribbles requires 100k points. Luo Feng was stunned. His earnings were already considered excellent. Back in Primal Chaos City with the 10 times reward, he earned quite a bit. After buying the 1st of February volumes of Time-Space Scribbles, he still had 20,360 points left. After that, he consecutively passed the 1st of September Islands of Fantasy Ocean, gaining 51,100 points. And during the time he spent in Blood River World, he passed the Heavenly Bridge's 6th level, gaining 3,200 points. A total of 74,660 points. The 1st volume of Time-Space Scribbles was only 1,000 points. The first 2 required 10k points, the first 3 required 100k points, first 4 was 1 million, it's compounded. Especially for all 9 volumes, the entire set reached 100 billion points. This was something even the universe country leaders could only stare at. And there wasn't any discount. The amount required to pay for these was like choosing a bottomless pit. Looks like I have to confirm the end of the mission before I can purchase the 3rd volume. Luo Feng gently clicked and closed the treasure trove document. He then proceeded to open the management file and chose training, very quickly entering the training page. He chose to confirm the end of his mission. How do you do, Your Majesty Luo Feng? A gentle voice resounded from the screen. You are requesting to confirm the end of your mission, yes. Luo Feng nodded. May I ask, of the 2 missions in Blood River World, which did you finish? The gentle voice continued. Both of them. Luo Feng replied. Please wait a moment, Your Majesty. A universe ship will arrive shortly at your star fragment to verify. After the verification, Your Majesty will acquire the points designated as the reward. The gentle voice spoke. Indeed, about 8 hours later. A grey blade-shaped universe ship that was 100-meter long landed on the star fragment. Luo Feng led his sector Lord Ao Duo and others to welcome them. How do you do, Your Majesty Luo Feng? 3 black uniformed men and women walked out of the cabin door. The leading black uniformed man said, Please enter the ship, your guards need not follow. All right. Luo Feng nodded. He entered this blade-like ship and quickly reached a specific verification cabin. When Your Majesty has entered the cabin, just act according to the Ari's instructions. The 3 of them were humble and respectful. In terms of strength, they were all sector lords. But, as their talent in battle wasn't that high, they belonged to the management and chore side of the company. However, even in these departments, they had different statuses. The things these 3 handled were considered more core. They too knew that the geniuses from this batch's genius competition, Bolan, Rong Jun, and Luo Feng were heavily favored. Naturally, their attitude was humble. If they were to meet some other geniuses who were not necessarily outstanding, they would do their job simply as is, with a cold face. Why would they even be humble about it? Luo Feng nodded, stepping into the cabin. Within, the electronic voice resounded, "Please take out one Blood River crystal and place it on the desk." Luo Feng placed one crystal on the alloy desk, 1ST mission of acquiring one crystal, complete. Points awarded 10K. The electronic voice said. Luo Feng, please prove that you are a blood warrior and place the Blood River medal on the desk. The cloud contact armor on his body automatically separated, revealing his bare chest. Luo Feng triggered the Blood River energy within and a red engraving appeared on his chest. Even though it was simple, it was complete and infused with incredibly mysterious energy and power. This in turn completely raised Luo Feng's melding with the universe laws and energy by 1-fold. Simultaneously, he tossed out the Blood River medal onto the table too. The blue light scanned Luo Feng and the table. Verified, Luo Feng, congratulations on completing the second mission, becoming a blood warrior and acquiring a Blood River medal. Points awarded 100K. The voice spoke. Luo Feng smiled immediately. Luo Feng. A cold lady's voice suddenly resounded. I'm messaging you via the virtual universe network. This contact will be classified and divulging of this contact is forbidden. Luo Feng was stunned. Yes. Luo Feng reacted. Classified? What classified? Don't be nervous, we interview anyone that enters Blood River world. The cold lady's voice sounded. Since you were able to become a blood warrior and were able to hand in one more crystal, I assume that you should still have extra Blood River crystals on you. Luo Feng was shocked. Blood River crystals, he couldn't even see any way to buy this within the treasure trove. The Blood River crystal is unique only to Blood River world. Even in the vast universe, it's regarded as an extremely mysterious and valuable crystal. Hence, it is very important. Among our human race, it is considered as a prohibited item, prohibited as in it's forbidden to buy and sell this item. The moment such an action is discovered, the Virtual Universe Company, Huge Axe Dojo, Universe Mercenary Alliance, Universe First Bank, and Universe Galaxy Bank will immediately act and collect all the crystals and punish the person heavily. Luo Feng was shocked. Prohibited item? Just like how Star Annihilator Cannon was an extremely rare item to the universe countries, this crystal was actually a prohibited item and forbidden from sale. The way you acquired your crystals was legal and appropriate, we will not snatch them from you. The cold lady continued. However, there are certain things you need to know. You are definitely not allowed to sell it to others and can only use it for yourself. If you wish to give them to others, please first send a request to our Virtual Universe Company. Once the request gets approved, you can then pass it on to that individual. Also, if you wish to sell the crystals, our Virtual Universe Company will be in charge of purchasing them from you. Each crystal will be worth 600 points. Luo Feng's heart was beating fast within. He had many crystals. Of course, there was nowhere else in the universe that these crystals can be found in, only in Blood River World. However, the amount of crystals in Blood River World was plenty. But now, he was finding out from this higher-level member of the Virtual Universe Company that it was prohibited. So much so that even giving them as a gift required permission, and if the request didn't go through, he couldn't even gift them. The Virtual Universe Company has many geniuses. In theory, with so many crystals, giving 3 to each of them shouldn't be anything. Luo Feng thought. However, it's obvious that the 5 Leviathans are controlling it very strictly. Are you willing to sell your crystals? The cold voice resounded. 600 points for one. Luo Feng currently had close to 10k crystals. If he sold them all, he would get over 5 million points. My God. That was a huge sum. Because according to what Luo Feng knew, the Undyings could exchange money for points, 1 mixed element for 1 point. If I had known, I would have acquired more. Luo Feng thought. Are you willing to sell your crystals? The cold voice asked again. I don't have that many, I wish to continue to absorb them. Luo Feng said. The cold voice didn't continue about the matter. Our conversation ends here, whatever was said today is classified and not to be divulged. Yes. Luo Feng nodded. After which an electronic voice resounded within the cabin, Luo Feng, the verification is over, you may leave. Simultaneously, the door opened. Standing on the grass, He looked up at the blade-shaped ship swiftly vanish into space. Luo Feng had a frown on his face. Luo Feng, I dare guarantee that the Blood River crystals should still have some other special uses. If it were simply for absorption, the Virtual Universe Company need not keep such a tight rein over it, and be so stingy to its geniuses. Barbata shouted. There's only one answer. And that is, that they have other uses for it, and I dare say that it's for the absolute warriors amongst the Undying, or even the universe country leaders and knights. Hence, they are prohibited items. Barbata's views were much more vast than Luo Feng's. Back then, he had followed Hu Yangbo throughout the universe to explore and experience the dangers of life and death battles while mostly dealing with Undyings. Naturally, he saw things much clearer. Luo Feng thought. Geniuses are geniuses. However, the true pillars of humanity are the Undyings, like True Yang Emperor, and so on. And then there are even stronger knights and universe country leaders. These eternal beings are the true pillars of humanity in the vast universe. As for the items they require, naturally they wouldn't let you geniuses have them. Didn't they already give you the chance to enter Blood River World? Giving you that one chance is already good enough of them. Barbata said. Luo Feng nodded and communicated through his consciousness, I understand. I just felt that the Blood River crystals were very important, hence I didn't sell them. Close to 10k crystals, if he wanted to sell them, there will always be a chance in the future. But until he discovered if they had any other uses, he couldn't bear to sell them. Selling is easy, but buying is hard. As it's a prohibited item, there's nowhere else to buy from. Luo Feng thought. Virtual Universe, Yuxiong Mountain, Absolute Beginning Region. Luo Feng once again entered and sat at his desk. He opened the treasure trove file in his laptop and discovered that his points had changed. Points, 184,660. It's enough now. Luo Feng smiled and swiftly opened the technique file, quickly finding the extremely expensive time-space scribbles. After having tasted its benefits, he didn't even hesitate and immediately chose to buy the first 3 volumes. There was no other way, no way to simply buy just one volume. Hence, he could only do it this way. Exchange successful, deducting 100k points, remaining points 84,660. Please wait a while, someone will deliver it immediately. The page had 3 consecutive notifications. Looking at his remaining points, Luo Feng couldn't help but exclaim, earning the points really wasn't easy. He took 80 years to finally absorb all 3 crystals, and that was because his willpower was incredibly sturdy, and he was able to rush into the whirlpool core. Otherwise, how long would it take, if he stayed outside the core for him to complete the second mission? 100k points was indeed hard to earn. The true reward this time is still the close to 10k Blood River crystals. Getting so many of them was still much easier than actually absorbing the 3. And the virtual universe is willing to pay 600 points for each of them. I can sell them anytime, buying them however is impossible. Luo Feng understood, only universe-level geniuses could accept this mission. Once he reached Domain Lord level and head out into the fields, there was absolutely no chance of acquiring more crystals. Blood River crystals, their true worth definitely isn't just 600 points, I'll just wait. Maybe it'll give me a surprise in the future. Luo Feng thought. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.